Hey, 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 happy Monday, gang. Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. So I have to say that the less said about the news today, the better. At least the better I'll feel about it. So I'm not talking about the summit in Helsinki. But regardless, let's get the show on the road because the Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, Jeff McAleer back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. Today is Monday, July 16th, and as I mentioned, not going to get into the news today, not going to get political. Try to stay out of that. I leave that for, my off-camera hours, I guess. But I do want to also mention that today is Amazon Prime Day. I know a lot of folks out there are super pumped. They're saving lots of money, getting great deals. Do you want to point out, and I'm the first one to admit I use Amazon too, just like I shop at Walmart. I try not to shop at Walmart too often because of how poorly they treat their employees. And I kind of look at Amazon the same way. Amazon is not a great employer by any stretch of the imagination. So try to temper your spending on Amazon today. Even though it is Prime Day, you can save a bunch of money. Still, I'm telling you, I've known people who worked for Amazon, and I wouldn't take a job there if you paid me 5 times the going rate of what they pay their employees. Anyway, so got a fairly good size show ahead of us today. I've got some news. I'm also going to be taking a first look, doing an unboxing of Most Wanted from North Star Games. And funny enough, I have already played this. This title has been under embargo. So I have actually had this game in my hot little hands since Origins Game Fair. It's just I wasn't able to share anything really about it until today. So I know I had talked about on Friday's show, I was going to do a review for Tales from the Loop. But I'm going to do that when I get back from Comic-Con. I promise my Tales from the Loop RPG review will be the first show back from Comic-Con. I promise. But because I've had Most Wanted for a while and the embargo was lifted earlier today, I figured, hey, you know what? Let's take a look at Most Wanted. It's, I gotta admit, I only played it once. So I don't know. Okay, so I know how to play it, but not really well. Not enough to give you a review. Simply because Elliot Miller, my best friend and host of voiceofe.com, and I were at Origins, and we were invited by North Star Games to their media party. And we got to play a game of Most Wanted. And I'll be the first to admit, Elliot and I had been out. We grabbed something to eat, had a few adult beverages. Then we had a few adult beverages while we were playing. So, usually tossing back a few beers and learning a brand new game doesn't really work all that well. So, but anyway, I got a lot going on. I will talk about some things as well after the news. Do want to point out this is a live stream on YouTube. If you are watching live, and I know a great many of you just watch the videos later on once they've been rendered. If you are watching live, you want to say hello, or you want to get a better look at something from Most Wanted, feel free, chime in. I will respond. Chat is not on screen, and that's how I keep some of the kind of oddball commenters at bay. But anyway, got a bit of news today, and first off, Renegade Game Studios is at it again. They've announced another brand new game, and this one looks pretty unique, and it's called Spell Smashers. I almost said Smash Spellers. I don't know why, but here's the dope. Renegade Game Studios is excited to announce a new word and sword slinging game, Spell Smashers. This title is designed by Christopher Chung, designer of the award-winning Lanterns, The Harvest Festival. It also boasts a notable artist, the Miko. renowned for his work on the North Sea trilogy, of which really dig Raiders of the North Sea. The two combined create a product bursting with dynamic visuals and engaging gameplay. Well. Harness the power of your vocabulary in this exciting monster-battling, loot-collecting word game. In Spell Smashers, you combine your letter cards to spell words, smashing fearsome monsters and their even more fearsome adjectives. When you deal damage to a monster, you gain precious coins. When you defeat a monster, you collect that monster as a trophy and gain a new letter to use later on. But beware, as you battle these dangerous creatures, you receive wounds, which are difficult letter combinations that could ruin your day. Between battles, visit the local town and spend your hard-earned loot to outfit yourself with powerful gear, take on new quests, buy devious potions, or grab an ale at the tavern, which would probably be what I'm doing, as you boast about your battle scars. Set your sights on fame and glory as you smash monsters with your spelling skills and rid the world of evil. Spell Smashers is for 1 to 5 players, ages 12 and up, and plays in around 45 to 60 minutes. The game will carry an MSRP of $45 when it arrives this October. Now, I do have to point out, I do not know if this is going to be a game that Renegade will have advanced copies of at Gen Con, especially seeing that it's an October release. It usually leads me to believe that we probably won't see it, but then again, it's possible we will. And of course, at Gen Con, which is right around the corner, I will once again be talking with Sarah Erickson from Renegade about all the goodies they've got cooking, because it seems like a week doesn't go by without them releasing info about a brand new game. All right. Now, if you're a fan of the Forbidden series of games from Gamewright, then you should be interested in the latest game to arrive this fall from Matt Lecoq, and as part of his Forbidden series, it's Forbidden Sky. And I've got the dope. Soar to dizzying heights in this electrifying cooperative adventure. Work as a team to explore a mysterious platform that floats at the center of a savage storm. Connect a circuit of cables to launch a secret rocket, all before you are struck by lightning. I hate when that happens. Or blown off to the depths below. It's a high-wire act that will test your team's capacity for courage and cooperation. Well, not real courage. One false step, and you all could be grounded permanently. The saga continues. What started off as a simple island adventure has evolved into an ever-developing storyline. From oceans, Forbidden Island, to deserts, Forbidden Desert, and now to the sky, this latest installment takes you to new heights with several novel challenges, including collectively planning a terrain using only limited information and constructing a real electrical circuit. No joke, it is a real electrical circuit. Forbidden Sky also breaks new ground for Gamewright, as it's their first game to include an electronic component. Inventor Matt Lecoq, isn't he a designer? I don't think he's really an inventor, right? Anyway, according to Gamewright, inventor Matt Lecoq created such a compelling mechanism with building a circuit that they decided to break their long-held rule of not publishing games with batteries. Hopefully, you'll agree that the payoff is electrifying. Forbidden Sky is for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, and plays in around an hour. The game is slated for a fall release and will carry an MSRP of $40. So I have to admit, I played Forbidden Island way back in the day when it first came out. And I thought it was okay. I thought it was alright. It was a game that a lot of people went crazy about, and I just didn't see it. Now, I'm not saying it was a bad game, it was just a game that didn't really grab me. And I have not played Forbidden Desert, and obviously enough, I know very little about Forbidden Sky. But if you are a fan of the Forbidden series, keep your eyes peeled when Forbidden Sky arrives this fall. Well, if you enjoy the Fallout board game from Fantasy Flight Games, then you're going to be pretty pumped about my next news piece. Let me grab a quick sip here. It's another oddly humid yet dusty afternoon here in the Duct Tape Studios. I do not know why. Anyway, FFG has revealed a new expansion is going to arrive for Fallout the board game. Oh yes. It's coming in late 2018, and I've got the dope on New California. Maybe I should play like Red Hot Chili Peppers in the background as we talk about this. California. Sunshine, ocean breezes, and radioactive wasteland as far as the eye can see. This desolate coastal state was once a shining jewel, but since the Great War, the region known as New California has fallen into chaos, which is great news. Where there's chaos, there's loot. Fantasy Flight Games is happy to announce New California, a new expansion for Fallout the board game. The New California expansion brings all new challenges to the irradiated landscape inspired by Bethesda's blockbuster video game series, inviting you to cover even more ground when you return to the 4 scenarios you experienced in Fallout the board game, or enter sunny New California in 2 brand new scenarios. While you're on these adventures, you can visit some of the most memorable locations from throughout the Fallout series, plumbing the depths of the hole, breaking into the Lost Hills bunker, or venturing into the imposing cathedral. Humankind has risen from the ashes of the old world into a weird world full of danger and, if you're brave or foolish enough, opportunity. The New California expansion provides plenty of opportunity to make a name for yourself across its 2 new scenarios. The first opens as a secret power grows in the background, threatening the grip of the Brotherhood of Steel Paladins on the wasteland here. Could this new presence be related to the rumors of mutants and experiments gone wrong? Before pledging allegiance to either side, you need to know more about the Brotherhood and the mysterious Unity. The second scenario, entitled New California, introduces a new set of cooperative rules, allowing the survivors to work together for a common cause. The landscape of New California is unforgiving, and the small village of Arroyo has been hit harder than most. Drought has brought the villagers to the edge of desperation, and in their hour of need, they have turned to anyone who will listen. The village elder has heard of a device that might combat the drought, but where can one be found? You must search the far corners of New California if you're going to help save Arroyo. A new land of opportunity awaits you. It might also be filled with radiation and hideous monsters, but what's an accomplishment without a little challenge? It's time to head into the wasteland. Welcome to New California. New California is obviously going to require the base game to play, and will carry an MSRP of $39.95 when it arrives in the 4th quarter of this year. I have not played Fallout the board game. I almost said Wasteland. Yeah, because Wasteland is actually the old video game that Fallout kind of emerged from. But no, I have not played Fallout, although I hear a lot of people really dig it. Really, really enjoy it. And I've been told it really does give you that Fallout vibe. So keep your eyes peeled at the end of this year when New California arrives. Speaking of waiting for arrivals, while gamers are sitting around waiting for the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade to arrive next month at Gen Con, there's another vampire-based role-playing game that actually caught my eye, and it's titled Miserable Secrets. Here's the dope. Live gothic action and noir investigation in the world of Miserable Secrets. Then, the noblesse stormed out of the east, carrying the banner of the savior and destroying the machines that held humanity in brutal thrall. Now, the noblesse demand their own tithes and must be paid in blood. They rule from great castles and grand cathedrals, drinking their holy communion from mortal veins. Famine is rare and villages thrive, yet all is not well in Christendom. You are a bastard. Yeah, I actually am, legitimately. Or a second child, or a heretic, or worse. You are righteous, monstrous, forever wandering. Everywhere you are driven to find the truth. You dig bodies from the ground, you face beasts called by sin. You know warm embraces and the price of the soul. You fight fear. You are driven by hope. You find miserable secrets. Miserable Secrets takes place in a gothic, ruined future ruled openly by the vampire elite. Equal parts Philip Marlowe and Simon Belmont, you'll root out corrupt truths and then decide what to do about them. In the process, you'll face down monsters both demonic and human. Miserable Secrets uses a unique card-based system that integrates investigation with combat and makes both tactical. Each of your character's abilities has a special function in both investigation and combat, and so do those of your foes. When you investigate, you'll rely on your memory and abilities to uncover secrets from the clue grid, building your hand for use in battle. When you do battle, you'll use cards to power up and take action in platformer-inspired hit-and-run combat. That seems kind of odd, but I don't know. The 212-page PDF is available right now from my friends over at DriveThruRPG, and it's available for $14.95. So, have to point out, Rose Bailey, I believe, is the main writer for Miserable Secrets. And you'll notice I've got the DriveThruRPG web address showing on the slide here. Normally, I would actually put an actual website to go to, but I do want to point out that Rose Bailey has worked on Vampire the Masquerade as well as other role-playing games, and this does sound pretty interesting. You can go and find Rose's page on Patreon because she's actually producing various different games through Patreon. And this is now available. Miserable Secrets is now available on DriveThruRPG. I have not really seen any of the interior. All I've got is the cover. But I gotta admit, this really did strike me as being kind of unique sounding. Plus, I keep floating out there. Not that I want this to happen, but I do think Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition is going to disappoint some longtime fans. So it's not a bad idea to maybe have another vampire game in your back pocket in case that happens. All right, that is it for the news today. So before I jump into unboxing and taking a look at Most Wanted, just wanted to mention a few different things. There will not be any other shows this week for the Daily Dope because I will be in San Diego covering San Diego Comic-Con with my brother Greg, Elliot Miller from Voice of E, David Jimenez is coming out. He's going to give me a hand here. For some reason, there's a little cat here that's kind of like blowing around over here. Thanks, Pinky. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Yep, the kitties are down here today, but they're both sacked out. Surprisingly, we have not heard from Miss Pinky caterwauling today. Thank you, by the way. So anyway, so there will not be shows the rest of this week. I do have a couple of videos that I've shot, kind of short. They're just standalone videos, kind of unboxing, first looks. I'm hoping that I get that done in order to get those up a little later on this week. I'll just kind of like auto post them. I'll schedule them to post. I'm not positive I'm going to have an opportunity to do that because I need to pack. I have to make some arrangements for some doctor appointments. So if you don't follow the show, if you don't usually watch the Daily Dope, I actually suffered a near-fatal heart attack back on March 15th. So, yeah, so they still want to do... I had a stent put in. There's still a second stent they want to put in the old ticker. So, I've been kind of putting that off, so I really should take care of that. So I've got to do that tomorrow. Like I said, I've got packing to do, got a lot of stuff going on. So I will not have a new episode of the Daily Dope until a week from tomorrow. And the reason being is we fly out on the last flight. We fly out on the red eye from San Diego, and we're actually flying on buddy passes, so it's not a guarantee we're getting out. Last year, I actually got stuck at San Diego until the next morning. So I'm sure I won't be back in time to do a show on Monday, a week from today. Pretty much guarantee you that I'll be pretty beat because San Diego Comic-Con is just insane. And we do a ton of walking, that's for sure. So, but I will be posting stuff on Twitter. I've got a few kind of eclectic interviews set up, or at least they're kind of in the works. So I don't know, it's going to be really odd coverage this year for San Diego Comic-Con because, for one, a lot of companies decided they were not going to go to San Diego this year. There were really no panels for like Marvel, which is amazing. But I guess Marvel, I think Disney too. I don't think Disney's doing any panels. So not that I ever really cover the big panels, simply because I don't have all day to sit camping out outside Hall H. So, and then when I get back, probably going to have some medical procedures done. So knock on wood, so I can hang around for a few more years. Never know. All right, so I just want to point that out. I know people who watch the show all the time already know that Comic-Con's a big thing. I don't have funds to be streaming live for Comic-Con. So I will actually be back probably next Tuesday. I'll have the word out on Twitter and stuff like that. Okay, so as I pointed out when I began the show, I'm going to be doing a first look and an unboxing for Most Wanted from North Star Games. It's designed by Dominic Krepchetes, Ken Gruel, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, and Quentin Ware. Artwork is provided by Andy Berry, Ben Goldman, and Naomi Stanton-Gulick. Once again, I hope I got that close too. It's for 2 to 8 players, ages 10 and up, and it plays in about 15 to 35 minutes. The game is slated for an October release and is going to carry an MSRP of $34.99. Do want to point out, if you are going to be at Gen Con, there will be pre-release copies available from North Star Games. Get them while they last. You don't want to show up like on Saturday afternoon and go, hey, how come I can't get Most Wanted? So do want to point that out. And right now, over at the North Star Games website, I believe there is a pre-order link, so you can pre-order the game. If it is not up just yet, it should be later on today or early tomorrow. So we'll switch on over to the other camera here. And as I pointed out when I was starting the show off, I did get a chance to play Most Wanted at Origins Game Fair. Well, off-site at the press party that North Star Games held. And I was told, you know, this was under embargo until today, and Bruce Vogue said he would shiv me. He literally said he would shiv me if I released any info. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. But it really was under embargo. So I am one of these people who, if a company says, hey, this stuff's embargoed until XYZ date, it's whatever time, I pay attention. I am not one of these people who are like, oh, I got to be the first one to get this news out. No, absolutely not. So I do want to mention North Star Games is kind of presenting Most Wanted as doing for poker what King of Tokyo / King of New York did for Yahtzee. Now, that is a pretty bold claim, ladies and gents. Pretty bold claim. So, be the baddest in the West. This time is ripe for the picking. An outlaw... Did I say time? This town is ripe for the picking, and every outlaw knows it. Stagecoaches and trains are slow-moving treasure chests, but any robbery is risky. Play your cards wrong, and you'll end up in the slammer without money for bail. Play them right, and you'll gain loot, admiration, and infamy. Heck, you might even become... Excuse me, I just burped there. That was not good. Heck, you might even become the most wanted. Hey, that's what happens. It's a live show, right? Doing a live show. Nice burp there. That was really nice. Okay, so let's get this on open. So one thing that I like about Most Wanted, and as I mentioned, I've only played this once, so my policy is got to play a game 3 times before I review it, and it's usually a good idea if I'm sober all 3 times. Not to say that I'm out there boozing it up all the time, but I like the fact that it is for up to 8 players, so that's pretty cool. So we've got the rule book, and we've got a travel guide, huh? Okay, so we got the rule book here. This was not a really difficult game to understand. Bruce Vogue taught it to us in 10 minutes tops. So talking about the setup, talking about the scoreboard, got robbery actions, general supply, the draw deck, other actions. We got goals and objectives. So it shows the action card structure, the name of the action, action description. So there's different things you can be doing. You can either be attempting to engage in crimes, I guess we would say. Robbery actions. Here we go, right there. Talking about robbery actions, and then there are like non-robbery actions. So you've got Pony Express robbery, stagecoach robbery, and then train robbery. And what you're doing is you have to put together a hand of cards. That's why there's a poker mechanic to this game. There's an aspect of poker to it. And these cards are actually going to show you how many cards you need to have in that hand. So then we got the non-robbery actions, honest labor, the duel, the double crosser, talking about ties, bail and other payments, when the draw deck is depleted, special rules for 2-player games, the hand rankings. Now, if I remember correctly, 6s actually trump aces. If I remember correctly, 6s are like the best card to have. So like a pair of 6s defeats a pair of aces, which I thought was a little odd. I don't know. I'm taking a look here. I'm not necessarily seeing anything. Talking about alternate actions, shootout, dishonest labor. Hey, Evolution the video game is coming. Look. And there's, hey, don't be looking at my special code there. Actually, I think at Gen Con, I'm going to get another look at the Evolution app game, because I think it's in a beta now. And Evolution is a great game. I know I'm talking about Most Wanted. Evolution is a really great game. Another excellent game is Wits and Wagers from North Star. The Vegas edition, I have to leave in my car usually, because I'll get invited over to like a get together and stuff like that, and it's like a lot of like kind of non-gamers or light gamers, and they're always like, oh hey, that gambling trivia game. It's like, well, it's not really gambling, but could you bring that with? I'm like, yes. So Most Wanted kind of strikes me as being a kind of game that is going to appeal to lighter gamers out there, more casual gamers. Who knows? I might have to put this in my car. I got all these different games in my car that I'm not supposed to take out. All right, so we got a travel guide. So this is not something I am familiar with. So it says, welcome to the West. St. Louis is a wonderful city that provides plenty of opportunities for outlaws to profit, but you're yearning for adventure. If you got a fire in your soul, wouldn't it be in your belly, that cannot be tamed, or a posse on your tail, that's probably more my speed, it's time to get out and explore new cities. After all, St. Louis is only a gateway to the Wild West, where danger is ever present and unimaginable riches are yours for the taking. This booklet is your guide to new journeys that await, new cities, new ways to play. Oh wow, okay, new action cards and more. Nice. So now we start getting a bunch of different options. So we've got Denver, got Las Vegas. Strangely enough, it says Denver is Kansas territory and Las Vegas is Utah territory. Got the Santa Fe Trail. So it looks like you would actually play a series of games. So Independence, yes, that is in Missouri. There's quite a few Independence. I actually stopped in Independence, Kansas too. Dodge City, yes, that would be correct. Santa Fe says Arizona territory. No, that'd be New Mexico. There you go. Tombstone would be Arizona. Okay, Stake a Claim, Wild West territory. Travel Guide Actions. So there's a general store and a casino. I like that. What's a straight? One drawback that I would think to this game is if people don't like the concept of cards and poker hands, even though there's no real gambling or anything like that involved in this, I would think that would maybe turn some people off a little bit. For an example, for Tiny Epic Western, there's just like a 3-card hand, kind of a poker hand to it. And I know there are some people who are like, oh, cards like that, oh no, bad, leads to gambling. Yeah, I don't know, but I do point that out. Some people are like just completely against actual, playing cards. They might have a little bit of a problem with this. All right, so we've got all these different locations. Shantytown, Pay Respects, Silver Mine, Grave Robin. Those are different. All right, there we go. We got the power rankings for the cards. So if you are not familiar with poker, we've got the high card, 2 of a kind, 2 pair, 3 of a kind, a straight flush, full house, 4 of a kind, 5 of a kind, and straight flush. I actually used to play, not a ton, but I used to play a bit of poker. Get together with friends and that, it would kind of be like, dealer calls it. And I have gotten a straight flush once in my entire life. Right, so we've got the little board here, the most wanted board. And this is where you're going to have standees for each of your characters. So each of the characters are going to have their own little standee. And you're making your way up to this spot here, to the most wanted spot. And you'll see we've got it with like 1, 2, and 3 money bags. And as you're doing robberies and stuff like that, you can gain money. You can have to, if you lose hands and stuff like that, if you have to pay so you don't drop down. Once again, I don't remember all of the rules to it because it has been a while since I played the one game of it. So we've got the most wanted board there. Then we've got the punch board with the different tokens for money, for moolah. It's all about the Benjamins. I do like the artwork for the characters, for the standees. It has a very Disney feel to it. And I do believe that one of the artists did work for Walt Disney Studios. So I dig these. So we got the different standees. So we've got 8 different characters. Then each of the characters also has their own card. So we got Pistol Pete, fastest guns in the West. And right here, this is just kind of a little player aid for you. And they're all going to be the same as far as the information on the side. It's just the artwork is different. So we've got Sister Chuck, a nun with a bad attitude, and nunchucks. Sly Houdini. I want to say this is the character that I had when I played the game. So then we've got Lasso Lily, Anita Tip, Trapper Dan, Bullseye Betty. Kind of looks, it kind of makes me think of Annie Oakley. And then Dino Mike, the Boomtown Kid. So we've got each of these. Each of the players will receive one of these. Pretty cool that it's just this really big card. Pretty good stock. Pretty good card stock. As opposed to just, it could have been just a little card. Could have been just a regular old card that showed this information for you to hand out. It's kind of cool that each of the players will receive this little character. Kind of immerse them a little bit more into the game. Right, so then we've got the bigger cards. And these bigger cards are the various different actions and the robberies that the players can take on. All right, let's go. There we go. As you can see, these are tarot-sized cards, so these are pretty big. And we're going to see that these cards include from the travel booklet. So we've got the duel, 1 to 2 cards, and it'll tell you choose 1 player. Then you got church. So church is an action you can take. It's just you. Then you got honest labor. So you're going to have these hands of cards, and you don't always necessarily have to jump in on the different actions. Got the Pony Express. Got the Stagecoach. And we got the train. So those 3 are the robberies. So what happens is during the turn, and I'm just, pulling this from my memory, right? You just saw me open up the open up the shrink on this. Say for an example, you got 5 players, right? Everybody's going to have their hand of cards, and it'll go per player, right? So let's say for an example, I'm the first player. I get to choose what is the action taking place on that turn. Not everyone gets to do this. Only the active player. So the active player says, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna try to rob the train." Well, other players can jump in and say, "Okay, I'm gonna do that too." And they're going to utilize a 4-card hand. And whoever has the best hand is going to be the one who wins. So it isn't as if during the turn that all the players get to say, "Oh, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm going to..." No, it's basically, I believe, if I remember correctly, if you're the non-active player and you're not taking part in the action that was chosen, that you can either do the church action, I think you can do the honest labor action, something along those lines. So we've got the holdup, we got the hired gun, got the tent saloon, grave robbing, got the bank, that's robbing the bank, and we got the shanty town. Now, these are dual-sided, so you'll see they're going to kind of worst hand challenge 3, worst hand challenge 2. So I'm curious if it's possible that based on the number of players... Okay, so these all have like a lighter brown on both sides. The lighter kind of wood color. Oh, except for the bank. The bank's got a darker one. And we see the bank, the train, the Pony Express, and the Stagecoach. I wonder if these are just kind of... Shantytown. Is that robbing the town? I'm not sure. Do not know. So it's possible that you use the darker side when you have more players, and the lighter side when you have fewer players. Yep, that's what it kind of looks like. Not positive, because keep in mind, when we got a chance to check this out, at Origins, we were just kind of learning the base game. So I had no idea that there was this travel guide that's got all these various different additional kind of wrinkles to the game as far as what's available to do. So that's very cool, because that's going to kind of boost up that replayability for Most Wanted. And then we've got the deck of cards. I'll open this up. They're just pretty much standard cards. I'm trying to remember if these went all the way down to a deuce or not. So let me take a look here. So we got the ace. Yeah, we got 4 aces, 4 kings. Got the 4 queens, jacks, 10s, 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s. Yep, 6. That's what I thought. I thought it went 6 and up. So, but you've got effectively 2 decks of 6 through ace, with 4 of each, and in the different suits as well. So you actually, I want to say, if you're only playing maybe with 4 players, you may only use the 1 deck. And if you're playing with more than 4, you'd use both decks, or you may just use both decks all the time. So, kind of like when you're playing blackjack. I got 2 decks. Yeah, I know. I like my time in Vegas. What can I tell you? I'm not turned off by games that have some sort of card mechanic, some playing card mechanic involved in them. That's for sure. All right, and then we've got the little stands for the standees. So kind of give me an idea. Let's what was Betty's name here? Is it Buckshot Betty? Nope, sorry, it's Bullseye Betty. There we go. So, we got the little standee here. All right, come on. Oh, this plastic doesn't have a whole lot of give to it. Yeah, there we go. So, there we go. We got Bullseye Betty. And as I was mentioning earlier on this board here, you're going to see the players moving up and down in rank, depending on, how successful they are, how much money they're getting, things like that. And then, of course, the player who reaches most wanted first is the winner. I don't know if once somebody reaches here, if that's it, the game's over then, or if when they reach here, you'll just go through, everybody gets one more turn. I'm not positive. I don't recall. All right, so we've got some baggy here for the tokens as well, for those money tokens. So we've got the stands. We've got Bullseye Betty and the rest of the characters. We've got the cool player aids, which are actually the full, kind of full size, plenty of artwork. Got different images of the character. Actually, I should probably put these cards back in here now. That's sort of how it's made to work there, Jeff. That's how it's supposed to fit together. So we've got the player aids, dual-sided. Just got those. We've got the large tarot size. Actually, these are kind of bigger than tarot size, really. They're longer, a little narrower. The various different actions that are available to the players. We've got the most wanted board. The money. Got the money tokens there. We've got the travel guide with all the various different options and add-ons for Most Wanted. And we've got the rule book. And that is what we find when we take everything from Most Wanted outside the box. So as I mentioned before, Most Wanted is for 2 to 8 players. Why did I say 4? Duh, it's for 2 to 8 players, ages 10 and up, plays in about 15 to 35 minutes, and it is arriving in October. You can pre-order right now, and if you are at Gen Con, there are going to be some copies available for you to be able to pick up, and it carries an MSRP of $34.99. I will have a review of Most Wanted probably in a couple of weeks. Might see that the week between, because gosh, from San Diego Comic-Con to Gen Con isn't even 2 weeks, really. Ay, ay, ay. Well, boy, I'm telling you, it seems like these conventions just get, closer and closer together every year. I think part of it is because so many of these schools out there send the kids back to school so early. Like in August, when I was a kid, I didn't go back to school till like September, even in high school. So pretty strange. Anyway, I will have a review of Most Wanted probably in about a couple of weeks. I have a feel for the game. I just don't recall all the exact rules for the game. So that's it for today's show. Let me point out, when you're not watching the Daily Dope or checking out any of the other videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Well, by now you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. I will not be back until next week because I will be out in San Diego. So I will have some stuff popping up on Twitter and things like that. So enjoy the week ahead. If you're happen to be going out to San Diego Comic-Con and you see myself or Greg or Elliot or David floating around, I mean, you'll recognize me. Be sure to say howdy. That's actually happened a couple of times, believe it or not. Pretty bizarre. But have a great week. Have a great weekend. And I will see you early next week. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.